Hello and thanks for joining me for this video, which is a couple of races around Sardegna Road Track B that I had back to back the other day. It's great fun, this layout, absolutely love it, and I think it produces some really great racing, and there's some really great examples of sportsmanship in here as well, which is something that is at times a little bit lacking in this game nowadays, but this shows that it still exists. The second race is particularly entertaining and just had an amazing battle with the other driver that I was fighting with, and we're going to see me trying to defend my honour against Key 25 in the first video. So let's get into it. Please do drop a like if you enjoy the video and subscribe if you want to see more, and let's see how the story unfolded. So this first race is from when I just qualified, and I set a 1:19.313, so I was pretty pleased with the qualifying lap, and to my amazement I see that I'm starting ahead of Key 25 on the grid. So he's in the FT1, I'm in the Supra, and I was kind of relishing the battle of trying to defend against Key and seeing if I could hold the position really. Pretty early on in the race I pulled away through the first turn. I think the Supra just got such an advantage through the long straights there, so we're going to cut through most of this sort of first lap where not a lot went on. I was just pulling a little bit of a lead out and thinking I might even break the toe. So as we're coming round to the end of lap 1, you see Key still a decent distance behind. Unfortunately I've only got the replay saved to this, so no splits to show, but at one point he was getting on for 7/10 behind. But as we're now coming down the straight, he's definitely in the slipstream. The Supra's got the advantage down the straight though, so I've definitely got some straight line speed advantage over him, and it's going to be down to his racecraft and whether he's going to be able to get past me, which, let's face it, he's probably going to have a lot more of than I do. But we managed to defend it through the first turn there into lap 2 quite well, and again we're just going to start pulling away a little bit. This first sector I really just seem to have the advantage, that the car and maybe just my confidence on this particular layout. I was pulling away at that first part. You see there again the gap getting quite big coming through those first few corners. So once again skipping towards the end of lap 2, and you see he has managed to catch up. The second sector, the FT1, is definitely a lot quicker, so the stability of that car, I think, particularly around that long banked left-hander, seems to be ever so strong. But as we fast forward down here on the straight, we'll see as much as he catches up, I've still got a fairly comfortable distance, but just there as we're coming through turn 1 I lose the traction a little bit, get the car into a bit of a slide, and all of a sudden he's a bit more on me than I would have wanted him to be. So it's going to be all the more difficult. We know he's going to be faster through sector 2, and before I've had a bit of a cushion and we've been able to leave a little bit more of a gap for safety. But despite having set the fastest lap there on lap 2, we're going to have him right on our tail here, and you see as we come up round to the banked left-hander, he's going to come right alongside. I don't cover the inside on the right enough, he's going to be up against me. I have to give him the space here and take the tighter line, which is something I'm going to try and defend, but on the outside for the next corner, and there's just nothing I can do. He's past me, and fair play. That was a great move. He bided his time through the first couple of laps, and then as soon as I've made a mistake, that you can't afford to make mistakes against a driver of someone like Key's experience. He's just going to be there with his consistency. I then kind of mess up by clipping this curb on the exit down the straight, and we're going to see, I'm going to try and stick with him here. I know I've got the straight line speed advantage coming down into turn 1, but I make a bit of a silly mistake here, so I just misjudged the width of my car there and I bump into him, and then I try and tuck him behind here, and unfortunately again I misjudged the width of my car and the fact there's more nose out the front than what I can see in the bumper cam view, so I have to let him back through, as I think is the right thing to do there. And regrettably that was pretty much the end of that race. So as we come towards the end of lap 5, he was comfortable sort of 6/10 in the distance, and I just never quite regained. So spurred on by the fact of having that battle with Key, I jumped back into qualifying, reset a best lap, which you can see as a track guide now. If you go onto my channel and look at the lap guide for Sardegna, you'll see that it's actually now a 1:19.1 that I managed to set, 1:7.4 I think it was. So loaded up into another lobby hoping to see Key there for another battle, but he was gone. We ended up having an amazing fight with this driver in second, and this is just one of the best races that I've had in quite a long time. So we're going to go through this in a bit more detail and see how that all unfolded. And the thing I'm really conscious of here is that he's in the same car as me, the driver in second now, so Nick Stefanchik. He's in the Supra, so I'm not going to have the straight line speed advantage that I had over the FT1, and he's also going to have the slipstream, so I've really got to be on my toes here. And luckily this time I did save the replay, so we've actually got the splits, which is going to make it a bit more interesting to follow. So once again, I'm strong through that first sector and managing to pull an extra sort of tenth or so out compared to the start, but it's still far from over here. 3/10 can disappear in a couple of tyre squeals and one bad corner entry, so really going to do everything I can here to try and pull out and gain a bit of a lead over him. Really tricky corner, this left-hander, to make sure that you don't lose the back end there. Do a really good job of keeping it tidy. Shift into third gear at just the right time, but you see with the slipstream he's gaining right up on me, and I make a bit of a mistake there. So just a tiny bit of a swerve, and now he's well inside the 3/10. We're going to be coming down the back straight, and that's a dangerous territory. You'd almost rather somebody be completely on your bumper coming around here, because they've got a couple of tenths gap behind you. That's where they're going to get that kind of slingshot effect. So we're going to pull right over to the right, then to the left, cheekily get right up against the barrier there in the thought that maybe he might lose concentration and scrape it, but he doesn't, and he's going to come right up on me here, but not quite close enough to make a move into turn one. I felt really confident round that corner all week, and you see there, managed to pull out another sort of 1.5 tenths, which is sorely needed when you're getting chased down at that sort of speed. Just managed to have the confidence to turn in at just the right time, plant your foot, and you really can pull away from people there. I've seen some of the fastest laps doing turn one in fourth gear, but I personally think that third gear is a little bit more consistent for the race, maybe for qualifying. If you want to really try and blast out the fastest lap you can, then you can go in fourth, but I do find that third gear is just a little bit more consistent with getting the car turning in. Speaking of turning in, we turn in nicely here into the big left-hander, but once again the slipstream's just helping suck Nick along behind us. Get a much better exit this time on the off-camber right-hander coming down the hill there, and we're going to come through this tricky, twisty section, and once again he's in that dangerous range, so about 2 tenths away, and depending on the exit he gets here through the final corner, and it could be a lot closer in there. I really mess up my exit, and we're going to have him right alongside us, but this is probably one of the best moves that I've pulled off in recent memory. So I keep him squeezed right up to the right hand side. I know he's going to have the inside, so I brake early, hoping that he's going to outbrake himself, hit the apex, and just come flying back up the inside. And I'm not ashamed to say that I let out a little bit of a whoop when I pulled that off in real life. So as I was driving along, not streaming or recording or anything, that was the sort of move that really excites me, and what's so great about this game. Nice and clean, and he's obviously going to be fighting harder than ever now to get back alongside me, but very pleased to be holding the position like that. Now though, know that he's going to be more motivated than ever to come back past me, and it's going to be a proper battle here to the end. So I see him looking up the inside. It's not quite close enough, and enough that you start getting those darkened edges around your screen. That's when you know somebody's really in your tailpipes trying to come past. I'm going to have to focus on getting the best exit that I can, as again we get a good exit coming down the hill there, and going to just have to do what we can to pull a bit of a gap away. But once again, only sort of 3 tenths behind coming into the final corner, and again I make the mistake of clipping this inside curb here, which just unsettles the car. You haven't got as much grip, the screen starts greying, and I know he's right on my tail. Fortunately for me here, he's not got that slingshot effect, so he's actually a little bit too close as he came out of that last corner, and he's going to be just right on my tail here. So I'm going to just hold my line. I know that he's not going to be able to go for a dive up the inside there, and he's a clean enough and good enough driver that he knows not to just go for the outrageous lunge up the inside, which is very sportsmanlike of him. But he is now within 2 tenths, and he's just set the fastest lap on that previous lap. Obviously he's got my slipstream and is trying to gain on me all the time, but 19.8's a good lap to be doing. But we do just go purple in sector 1 there, a 10th up on however he managed to get round the first 2 or 3 corners, and pulling out, but again only to within 2.5-3 tenths. Now is he going to be able to gain up again around the bank left hand? This seems to be the point on the track where I was probably losing the most time against everybody, and this is what I need to work on if I'm going to get a 118, which I would really like to get before the end of the week. I need to work on that, but again beautifully hooking up the right hander down the hill there. And now are we going to be able to lift and keep it tight to the curb? Not quite, drifted a little bit wide, but get a bit of a better exit around the final corner this time, not clipping that inside curb. But dangerously, by getting a better exit, we've almost given him more of a chance, because once again he's going to be in this slingshot range where he's going to be catching up just at the wrong moment. So decide to hold the inside here. It's the last lap, and to squeeze him to the outside. Now this time I'm a little bit further ahead, so I just stick on the outside, and he's just not able to carry the speed because he hasn't got enough room around the inside there to send it. And again, being a very clean driver, he has to back out on the move there, unfortunately. And I'll say unfortunately, fortunate for us, we get to stay in first place, and it's going to be an absolute mad dash now here to the end. Now I could sense that he was getting more and more aggressive with his moves, and I was struggling to hold him off the whole way. But here, as we just come up the hill, I notice he's got an awful run on me, and I think it's going to be a repeat of Key again, but this time he goes up the inside. He did bump me there quite heavily and goes wide. Now, after the close racing that we've been having, I'm not going to be that bent out of shape about it. You know, these things happen, and I don't think that, you know, he had plenty of opportunities to have rammed me off, and he didn't, so I didn't think that was intentional. But we're going to see what happens now, as we've got still a couple of corners to go, and get a decent exit here off of the final turn, but it's not going to be enough to actually catch up with him across the line. But this guy is an absolute gentleman. He slows down. I think he's not happy with the way that he made the pass and lets me through for a first and second. And I just think this is the best part of the game here. I had a great battle with that guy. You know, shout out to Nick if you see this video somehow. I really enjoyed the race, and I think that's what this game is all about. You know, if you make a clean pass on somebody, then you should be able to celebrate it and enjoy it. But if you know you've bumped somebody and you've got the opportunity to just let them by, then you know, why not do it in that situation? He didn't lose any more places, and it worked out just being a great race for both of us. So hope you've all enjoyed that. It was a great race for me, and hopefully make some entertaining viewing. And do drop a like if you enjoyed the video, so it helps out the channel a lot if you're able to like and subscribe, and hopefully see you for some more videos soon. Thanks very much.